how many of you have seen the 90s martial arts movie, like the Steven Seagal movie or Chuck Norris movie, and you saw him fighting like a guy that looked like to be doing breakdance fighting? Has anyone seen that? Or how many of you gaming fans have heard of the PlayStation series Tekken? The character Eddie Gordo, what kind of martial art does he use? Well, to answer those questions, he uses the martial art capoeira, which is a Afro-Brazilian martial art. It's a traditional martial art that's played in Brazil and also parts in all other countries as well today. Through my experience of playing capoeira, I've been playing for about almost a year now. Through going to my classes and listening to my capoeira professor talk about it, I've learned a lot about its history, where it began, and how it's being played differently today. So it might look something like this. Now, I'm sure all of you get some sort of exercise, and I know a lot of people are when you wake up, you're like, oh, I'm going to exercise today. You think of the same routine every time. If you're looking for a new and fun way of getting some exercise, capoeira is the best way. It works out every muscle in your body, and also comes with the cultural background too, so you gain cultural knowledge as well. So today, I'm going to show you, I'm going to teach you the origins of it, how it's played, and I'm going to show you how it looks like when it's played. So first is the history of it. Where did it begin? It began in Angola, Africa. Slaves were brought by the Portuguese to Brazil when Brazil was under the Portuguese power. Captured slaves were brought to Brazil and parts of Rio de Janeiro, El Salvador. That's where capoeira started developing and spreading out. The slaves would be disguising their fighting in a form of dance, through fighting, recreational dance and songs, and it became the typical way for them to be defending themselves against violent overlords or their enemies and stuff. Slaves in Brazil, they got together in what they called rodas, which is a small gathering where they would come in. People would bring instruments, percussion instruments. Instruments they mainly used were a tambourine, also known as the pandeiro, the atabaque, which is also the drum, and the most important instrument of the roda, which is the berimbau. It's a one-string instrument. And the fighting was disguised in a dance, what they call the ginga, which is translated as a swing. And I'm going to show you real quick what it kind of looks like. It would go into a beat of the song, and they would bounce to the beat of how that song, depending on how fast the song was. And at the same time, they would throw in some kicks, they'd throw in some punches, also doing acrobatics as well, which would appear to look like that. This is a typical view of what a roda looks like. Now that you know some sort of how it looks like, the history of it. Slaves would get together and play, but the reason why they disguised it as a dance is because when they'd be practicing, people would see the ginga, they think, oh, they're dancing. And then when they try to stop them, the Portuguese would try to stop them, they get, riled up, and that's when the martial arts aspect of it comes in. Over the years, it was illegal. It was made illegal by the Portuguese until 1933, after the slaves were, 1800s, sorry. The slaves were liberated. Capoeira became illegal for the Brazilian government, but in 1933, they legalized it to make it recognizable as a Brazilian sport. Now, how it's being played today is being played today by millions of people around the world. They have schools in Canada, Europe, Australia, just different parts of all over the world. It's now a cultural experience through dance and songs. It's also a major influence on some breakdancing. A lot of breakdancing moves have been influenced by the capoeira moves. It's also being used in movies like Mark Dacascos. You might have heard of him. He's the host of Iron Chef, and he's also on this season's Dancing with the Stars. Jean-Claude Van Damme's The Quest, Tony Jaa in The Protector, and also the PlayStation game series Tekken. Now that I've showed you where the origins, where it came from, and what it's being used for in today's society, I'm going to show you a quick clip of a capoeira school in Canada called the Abara Capoeira School. They are at what they call is a batizado, which is a ceremonial gathering. It's like pretty much a graduation ceremony for those who started and they level up. So, as you see, you can probably hear it too. The traditional types of the music that's being played, and the excitement and energy of the people that are playing. This is a game between two mestres of the school, which are the two teachers and masters of the school. So now that you've seen what it looks like, the history, you have some basic knowledge of how it began, why it's being played. Now that you know exactly what it looks like, and if you are interested, this sparked a new interest for you. You can go check out the school that I play with, Capoeira Batuque. They have 2 different locations. The closest one here is in downtown Santa Ana. That's where I play. You can check out the website. First class is always free, so if you're looking for a new way of getting fit and for a cultural experience, Capoeira is the best way to do it.
So, Anne, what did you think?
I thought it was very interesting and informative, and he had a great explanation of its history and where capoeira came from, and also how the fighting was disguised as a dance, and also an awesome interpretation, demonstration of the fighting style by John himself. Also, great clip of the fighting style to show us how it's actually done, and also his little plug at the end for his fighting school in Santa Ana.
Okay. The cultural references as your attention device are okay. The topic is very clear. The goal, I think, is still a little broad, but you did signify where you were going to go, what the main points were going to be. That part was solid. I think you need some citation on the historical information. You got a lot of data and examples and even some factual information that you're presenting, but I don't know where any of that came from, and so you need to do that. That's the weakest part of the presentation. Most of your explanations are very clear. I think you had a high level of audience interest in the subject matter. It's divided into a couple of points. The transitions between the points, that was very clear. The visual materials, they were well planned, not overwhelming, although maybe one slide extra that you need. And the video clip, I like the video clip, but because you're not talking about it most of the time, it just seems like it goes maybe 10 seconds too long because we're not hearing from you and we're just looking at the video clip. If the clip was shorter, or if you were commenting on it and telling us something about what they were doing or something about how, like in the competition, how is it scored, or can you tell who's winning or something along those lines, I think that would have helped to add a little bit more to it. And the only thing that I found a little bit odd about the language, is it really called playing capoeira, or is it that phrase just seems odd to me, maybe practicing it or something like that. Maybe that's
something that was banished, or like it was made illegal, So, and when it was made legalized,